Welcome back into Cougar Tracks here on the KSL Sports YouTube page. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Cougar Tracks wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Pocket Cast, Overcast. So many different ways to subscribe to the show. I would appreciate it if you did subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and a review on whatever podcast platform you're on. That would be greatly appreciated to help support this show. We're more than a month and a half now doing the daily thing, and I have loved holding it down with this role here on Cougar Tracks on KSLSports.com, KSL NewsRadio, and the KSL Sports YouTube page. So, gonna pivot a little bit to basketball. Now that it's the month of October, nighttime is coming earlier and earlier as the days go by. That means one thing: basketball is around the corner, and this month we are going to get Big 12 basketball. BYU will have its first exhibition on October 18th against Nebraska coming up in Lincoln. And then they'll also have another exhibition against the North Carolina Tar Heels in the Delta Center. So we are going to get some college basketball fired up this month, and I cannot wait. And the toughest conference in America, Big 12 hoops, should be a buzzsaw once again. And now it's time to roll out my Big 12 basketball preseason power rankings as fall practices are settling in. Teams are gearing up for their exhibition games. I thought it was a perfect time to roll out the preseason power rankings for Big 12 hoops. And I'll start from the bottom and work my way up to the number one spot. 16 teams in the league, 18 game schedule in Big 12 play this year. And we're going to start off with number 16, UCF. Make or break year, possibly, for Johnny Dawkins. I was in Orlando for the Big 12 spring meetings, and Terry Mahajer was talking to a lot of the local media, and they discussed Johnny Dawkins. And, you know, it's a feeling like he's got to win. Johnny Dawkins does, and we'll see how it goes in Orlando. But I've got them at the bottom after their roster got raided this past season. Number 15, Utah. Year one for Alex Jensen, stepping in at his alma mater, comes in from the NBA with the Dallas Mavericks. He retained Keanu Dawes, which was significant, getting him, the former Rice transfer guy with local ties to the University of Utah program. They also added Farley Dickinson, 20-point scorer guard, Terrence Brown to that guard line. But Utah basketball in a bit of, transition. This is a team that could be a lot better than 15, maybe, 10 or 11, somewhere in there. But I just think this league is so deep that it's hard to project anything else. And I don't know who you turn to as the top guys on this team yet. But I do think Alex Jensen will be a solid coach and maybe better than Craig Smith, too, for the Utes. But low expectations in year one. Number 14, Colorado. Tad Boyle had probably his worst year as the Colorado head coach. Remember, Tad Boyle coached in the Big 12 in the Buffs' original stint in the Big 12. He's been around Boulder for a long time. I thought it was noteworthy that he retained Bengot Dak, one of the big men in the front court. Last year they lost 21 games, but Dak is someone, I think that he has a lot of potential. Colorado could spring some upsets, but they got off to such a poor start last year that once they started to have a little bit of success, it was too little too late because they were in the cellar of the league standings. Number 13, Arizona State. Really intrigued by Pepperdine transfer Mo Odom. Marcus Adams, BYU fans know his name. Former Kansas, BYU, Cal State Northridge transfer. Some names to watch for the Sun Devils, but what do they become, the Sun Devils under Hurley? It's a completely new roster. No starters were retained from last year. They lost Jaden Quaintance to Kentucky. I think they could be pretty good because I like some of those transfers like Odom and Adams, but still relatively low expectations for the Sun Devils. Number 12, TCU. Tanner Toolson, former BYU guy as well, and Utah Valley transfer. He should be a nice impact addition for Jamie Dixon's squad. Jaden Pierre, also from Providence. They bring back David Punch from the front court. TCU will be a tough out, like anyone. I mean, if that's the 12th best team in the league, it speaks to how deep this league goes. Number 11, West Virginia. Year one for Ross Hodge. Fourth different head coach in 4 years for the Mountaineers. Bob Huggins, Josh Eilert, Darian DeVries, and now Ross Hodge comes in from North Texas, and he had a lot of success with the Mean Green. I believe he won 25, 26 games in a single season, a couple years there in Denton. A player to watch for West Virginia. Trayson Eaglestaff from North Dakota. I think he's a transfer to watch for that completely new look Mountaineer squad. But retention, that's going to be the key in Morgantown is this all running it back next year and the years ahead, because it's just been a revolving door for West Virginia basketball over these last handful of years. Number 10, Kansas State. Big step back last year in year 3 under Jerome Tang. They didn't make the postseason, and that's not a good trend for Kansas State, who just a few years ago was, I felt, taking the college basketball world by storm, reaching the Elite Eight, being so close to a Final Four. Those days seem like a distant memory for K-State hoops right now, but they did bring in one of the best transfer portal classes in the country, PJ Haggerty from Memphis. He joins this group, and then Abdi Bashir, 20-point scorer from Monmouth. Those are some names to watch in that transfer class. Number 9, I've got Oklahoma State. I am really impressed with Steve Lutz. I thought he did a very good job in year 1 at Oklahoma State, and it gets a little bit unnoticed at time, but I thought they had a nice run in the NIT quarterfinal appearance. They added a bucket getter and Anthony Roy from Green Bay, 25 points per game last season for Doug Gottlieb's squad at Green Bay. I think Steve Lutz is going to be a really good coach at Oklahoma State. He's won everywhere he's been. He's been to the NCAA tournament. I don't know if I'm ready to say Oklahoma State's going to be an NCAA tournament team, but I think Gallagher-Iba Arena is going to be a tough out once again. I mean, that place has so much history, and it's just been a ghost town. Since BYU joined this league, it's just been, what do you get excited about with Oklahoma State hoops? I think Lutz is going to continue to build that up, and I think they're going to be one of the more improved teams in the league this year. Number 8, Cincinnati. Huge year for Wes Miller. He dismissed Jizzle James a few months ago in August. They got Mustafa Cham from UCF. That was a massive addition. Cham, I thought, was one of the best bigs in the Big 12 last year for UCF. Now he comes to Cincinnati. This team's got to get to the NCAA tournament. They had such high expectations last year, and they came completely short of those expectations. I think similar, I wouldn't say high expectations this year, but I think the potential's there to maybe exceed the lower expectations, but they're just kind of viewed as a middle-of-the-road team in the Big 12. They've got to get to the NCAA tournament this season. Number 7 is Baylor. Veteran transfer additions that Scott Drew brought in for the Baylor Bears. No returning starters from last year's team. Tande Yusefu is a heralded freshman McDonald's All-American. He's one to watch. Plus, since he transferred Dan Skillings, they've also got a transfer from Wyoming who's going to be excellent. Baylor's going to be good. I think they're going to be a little bit tougher defensively than what they've been the last handful of years. Since they won the national title in 2021, there's just been no defensive success for Baylor basketball. I think they're going to be a little bit tougher this year than what we've grown accustomed to in Baylor the last few years. I think this will be a pretty tough squad that Scott Drew has. Number 6, Iowa State. Might be a little bit lower than others might have them. 3 consecutive top 25 net rankings for TJ Otzelberger. This program is humming along. Taman Lipsy, Momchilovich returns. They do lose Curtis Jones, who was kind of a microwave off the bench. He could just fill it up on any given day. There was times where you thought maybe he's a Big 12 Player of the Year candidate coming off the bench, but Iowa State's going to be really good once again. Number 5, Kansas. Darren Peterson. It's all about Peterson. The thing is about Kansas, it's a new look roster led by Darren Peterson, a true freshman. I just think they actually have NBA talent on their roster this year. Yeah, last year they had some seniors in DeJuan Harris, Hunter Dickinson, but they didn't have pros. Darren Peterson, Flory Badunga, bringing him back. I think Cole Rosario, the guy that reclassified, BYU was in the mix a little bit for him. They at least offered him. I think they've got legit future NBA talent at Kansas, which has been crazy that they've lacked that the last few years. And it's no surprise that they have come completely short of expectations the last couple of years, being preseason number 1 team. they're going to be really good this year. I think they're going to be slept on a little bit. I think Kansas is going to be in that upper tier of the Big 12. I've got them at number 5. Number 4, Arizona. You lose Caleb Love. They lose Henry Visar. He goes to North Carolina. That's going to be one to watch for BYU fans to see in the exhibition. But you bring back Jaden Bradley, Toby Owaka, one of the best rebounders in the Big 12. And then you add Koa Pete, Jaden Burries, some talented freshmen for Arizona. This will be a really good team. Sweet 16 a season ago before falling to Duke. I expect another second weekend appearance for the Wildcats once again. Number 3, Texas Tech. JT Toppin returns, the Big 12 defending player of the year. Got a massive NIL deal from Texas Tech, but it's not just him either. Christian Anderson was an elite guard, one of the best guards in the Big 12. And then they bring in UNC Greensboro transfer Donovan Atwell, another guard. Tech is loaded. They are going to be so good. I think that, the top 3 teams in these power rankings, there's a case that they could be, top 7, top 8 good going into the season in college basketball. Loaded league in the Big 12. Number 2, BYU. I think Kevin Young in the second year in the program, he has leveled up the talent significantly from a team last year that was a Sweet 16 squad. This is a group that has the potential to be 1 seed line on Selection Sunday good. Winning a conference title is challenging, and it's hard to expect that in these super inflated leagues where you don't play everyone twice. It comes down a little bit of the schedule and things like that. But Rob Wright, AJ DeBonsa, Richie Saunders, Keba Keita, BYU is loaded. They've got the intangibles, the versatility. I don't think you're going to see them go 11 deep this year on the rotation because you've got so much star power at the top that it's hard to imagine taking Rob Wright off the floor in key situations. But Kevin Young has endless options with this team. They are going to be really good. And number 1 is Houston, defending national runner-up, so close to a national title a year ago, but the machine doesn't slow down. And now the recruiting is going to an even higher level. I like the blend of veteran experience with Milos Uzan, JoJo Tugler, Emmanuel Sharp, but then you also bring in Chris Senack, who I saw when he was at Link Academy. He played a game at Pleasant Grove High School. Impressive player. Senack's going to be awesome. And then Isaiah Harwell, a former Wasatch Academy prospect. The Cougs are going to be loaded again. 2-time defending Big 12 regular season champ. They won the tournament in the Big 12 last year. They are the standard in the Big 12, and they've got to be knocked off. And that's going to be the challenge for everyone. I think it's just a little bit interesting that Houston has less veteran experience. You lose Jawan Roberts, who was such a heart and soul of Houston, but Uzan, Tugler, and Sharp, they're going to be really good. Houston is going to be such a tough out once again. But that's my Big 12 power rankings entering the season. What do you think of it? Again, it's Houston number 1, BYU number 2, Texas Tech number 3, Arizona number 4, Kansas number 5, Iowa State at 6, Baylor at 7, number 8, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State at 9, 10, Kansas State, 11, West Virginia, 12, TCU, Arizona State at 13, Colorado 14, Utah 15, and then UCF at 16. That's my Big 12 basketball power rankings entering the preseason.